All right, so the 30, 60, 90, given the small side is 3, given that the small side is 3, the hypotenuse is x. What's the hypotenuse? 6, because we multiplied it by 2. Given that the small side is 3, what's y? 3 radical 3. Every time we start from the small side, to get to the hypotenuse, we multiply by 2. To get to the other side, we multiply by radical 3. Every time you start from the small side, you multiply. Yes. Yes. Now, looking at question number 2, I don't start from the small side. I start from the hypotenuse. So instead of multiplying, divide. So the hypotenuse is 16. What's y? 8. Because in this case, we divided by 2. Now that we have the small side is 8. What's x? 8 radical 3. Beautiful. Now, looking at question number 3, we start with the side 7. What do I do to the 7 to get the small side? Divide by radical 3. Because I'm going to have 7 divide by radical 3. Notice that on the division, I wrote it as a fraction and I put it at the bottom, right? I'm dividing by radical 3. But no, I remember I told you guys no radicals at the bottom. There's a rule that we have no radicals at the bottom. Let me multiply top and bottom by radical 3. So the top is 7 radical 3. The bottom, radical 3 times radical 3 becomes 3. And that's my answer. Just as a quick glance, I look at the whole numbers. 7 over 3. There's nothing I can do, so I don't simplify. Now that I have the small side, now that I know the small side, what do I do to the small side to get the hypotenuse? Multiply by 2. So I have 7 radical 3 over 3. That's the small side. We multiply it by 2. I'm multiplying, so I put it on the top. We can combine whole numbers. I'm going to combine whole numbers, so I'm going to call this 14 radical 3 over 3. All right, you can combine your whole numbers. All right, now what if there was a radical to begin with? What if there was a radical to begin with? I'm looking at, there's supposed to be a 3 at the bottom, but it doesn't quite show me. So it's 10 radical 3 over 3. Now, I have the small side. What do I do to the small side to get the hypotenuse? Multiply by 2. So I'm going to have 10 radical 3 over 3 multiplied by 2. Right? Every time we multiply, we put it on the top. So I'm going to call this 20 radical 3 over 3. That's x. Right? You have a question? You multiply by 2 when you're getting the hypotenuse. You multiply by radical 3, but you get the other side. So you divided that by 3? By radical 3, yes. On number 3 for the y. Remember, every time you start from the small side, you multiplied. But if you're going backwards, then you divide. Now, looking for question number 4, to solve for y, the small side to begin with is 10 radical 3 over 3 to begin with. But now to solve for y, I have to multiply by radical 3. So I get 30 over 3. You guys see how the two radicals just becomes 3 times 10? So on the top, I have 30 over 3. Now 30 over 3 can be just called 10, right? Simplify your fraction. So starting from the small side, to get to the hypotenuse, multiply by 2. To get to the other side, multiply by radical 3. And if you're going backwards, instead of multiplied, divide.